Alright, and we're back. I'm sorry for that one. Something with Verdun and incompatibility with normal computers. Seriously though, we have started and we're currently looking at Wolfer, at checking the... on AIM right now. Guys.
And what we're seeing right now, if you have the overhead, is TV is really trying to attack the flanks. That's something we're going to see at every trench on this map, is really control of those far right and far left flanks. And frankly, TV, since they started, have been struggling, but it looks like actually they just got a leapfrog spawn into the trench. So they have two guys right now going to the far right.
They're in the far right of the German side.
Who don't know what a leapfrog is, when you spawn on a teammate and the spawn you get is ahead of your teammate, that's a leapfrog.
Very cool. But we can see that the Antadi has a clean foothold now in the right hand side, and they're actually capturing the whole trench. So they captured the trench right now. We're looking at Jackie's perspective, actually killing everyone who is in no man's land right now. What do you think the defending side, the Germans, should do now in order to recapture this trench?
As Meeks was alluding to, getting on the flanks is extremely important.
Yeah, they should try to get left or right and work their way out.
It's actually nice to see how the people are spreading right now. And we can see La Fortune actually looking for anyone on the right side. Luckily there's nobody there. And he gets shot from mid. The Germans retook the left part of the trench right now for the Antadi side.
Yeah, there seems to be only one guy in anymore.
And that's going to be really crucial, controlling that right redoubt for the German side, just because if they have to retake that, the advantage that the Entente will have firing down on them and firing across the trench is just brutal. It's a brutal crossfire, and look at that, they just capped it back.
You were right, they retook the trench, and now what they need to do is get the last foothold out there. You can Spook actually see going right and died because of Jackie right there. Let's follow Jackie in the advance in the attack again. And the fight is really about this this side. The Antadi is right now on the left side for Antadi. It's a really crucial spot, isn't it?
And this trench line is really about controlling these two redoubts on the left and the right side with the sandbags, because then you just have such a powerful view looking into the rest of the trench line. All of it's completely exposed. And that's what Jackie is doing. He's just looking down in middle and killing everybody he sees.
Hell, Jackie is literally killing everyone. He sees his people on the left as well in no man's land, but he's already on 18-4, which is ridiculous regarding this game. Has only started for a few minutes. The Germans did, however, recapture their left-hand side, and Troll needs to get a couple of kills here in order to keep the left in their hands, as this is a very important part. Is there anyone in right for the Germans as well? Are they advancing on right?
The Germans do have a bunch of guys in on their far right side. They've gotten a bit of a foothold there. The Entente team's aware of it, and Dick's pushing it right now to try and clear it out.
And this is really where those long shots come into play. If, for whatever reason, both teams are controlling each side of the trench, it's going to come down to who's going to make those longer shots. Just because if they need to push, they're going to get wiped out if they can't match them shot to shot. But with that, it looks like the Germans are sprinting back in on the right side that they're attacking, and they've just retook it.
Let's see how the attack is actually going from bird's eye view, and we can see that everyone is already on the left side from the Antadi side and there's a few Antadi guys trying to get in from no man's land into the left. It's this one is a struggle, and well, as you guys estimated that BUF is going to be very important and steamrolling practically TV here, but the other thing is happening. TV is 1-2 ahead of the stream while I try to spectate someone from TV side.
Yes, I'm very disappointed in this.
You're very disappointed in this book?
Yes, he's not doing the proper abuse.
Let's actually, while we say that, they equalized it to 2-2 though. And Troll is trying on the left, together with a teammate of his, to go into the left again. Keep fighting over this side of the trench. How many people are in left for the Germans?
Only one.
The German team is very weak right now, and the Entente team is again pushing into that redoubt on the other side.
Let's follow actually north for a... Oh, that's not... That's a report. I didn't want to do that one. Excuse me.
The left side is again clear. The Germans are taking over it.
So what is the approach for the Antalya right now? Are they trying to capture the left or the right?
It seems like they want to go to the right side.
It was a nice defense right now, though, by the BUF team. They've got really good spread on the trench line, and they're covering everything pretty well.
Yeah, it's put out for the Antons to try to get out the French. But they are using the ditch by the road in the middle.
Yeah, it looks like, as you can see, there's a lot of guys right now for TV. They're pushing up really aggressively on that road, about to get into the middle.
Something they need to be concerned about, though, is the fact that right now the Germans are on the left and the right side, so they'll have a perfect crossfire into their approach, but let's see if they can get in.
Well, they have one guy in mid. He's going for
I don't
the
think
front
BUF
line.
is aware of this, nor dies.
Let's see, who of the Antalya is actually... They are attacking the left, so who of the Antalya should we follow to see how they are advancing? It's very cool.
Alaskan Varl. Oh, no.
It's actually Jackie inside, just outside the left part, in that little ditch. Everyone always
And
abuses
the
it. but-
position he plays, when he gets back up after the spawn, he'll probably look towards middle from this position. This is a really common spot. It's very powerful because you can just see pretty much everything again. And his whole team is with him.
Jackie just spawned, everyone just waited there until he got the teammates in, and he killed absolutely everyone with the crossfire. He is so incredibly accurate with the long shots.
He's just having a super good game, and really, if you look at the scoreboard, you can see that BUF is averaging probably more kills, but Jackie on TV is just going off, killing everybody.
It is cool to see that BUF is already on the right-hand side for the Antalya as well. They're trying to retake the German outpost again. And it's ridiculous to see how fast they are capping and recapping this trench. These teams are incredibly equal, and it's cool to see how they are defending it. Trying to stay at the... indeed, at the outer side, so both left and right. Trying to get that crossfire going and recapturing the whole trench, but not really gaining control of the complete trench and keeping the fight in the no man's land, as you'd expect actually to happen in this map.
Yeah, it's rather hard. The trench is still quite wide. 8 players to hold it perfectly would be a hard achievement.
And I think something that we're really seeing from the Entente side and TV is they're really staying together as a team, with the exception of when they've split on the flanks. But BUF is struggling to have what I like to call kind of the buddy system. Of you always want to make sure you're at least pushing with one other person, so if you go down, there'll be somebody right behind you to shoot the guy who killed you. So we're seeing a lot of individuals just kind of getting killed on their own and not any retribution happening for that.
Oh, it's also cool to see how TV is trying to spread their teammates out and actually using some airplane bomb right now on the far right for the Antalya. It's going to be interesting to see because there's a lot of people on the right-hand side and they might actually get a few kills with the airplane bomb. Nor did get one airplane bomb off, but let's see. Does Jackie he gets a double kill with the airplane bomb, actually excellently helping with the recapturing that far right-hand side.
That airplane bomb cleared the whole left side out.
I really like how even on the attack, TV is actually really taking a close eye on when to spawn people, and that proves that they are having an excellent communication in their team chat right now, knowing when people are dying, when people need to respawn, and I think it's excellent to see how they keep their team members in this trench, which is the hardest thing of all Verdun.
Oh, but Tom Grump went in middle and he just slaughtered 3 people. But they still got the spawn on the left side.
Because Tom Grunt did that, their TV is losing this trench again towards BUF, and they need to kill some people quickly in order to keep this trench, but they didn't. Let's follow Jackie here.
They only have one man left on the left side. He needs to spawn people in, and he does so.
Do you guys see anything TV or BUF should do better in order to get complete control of this trench?
I think what both teams, and this is kind of I think the big aspect of the game right now is neither team is able to consistently control both of the redoubts, both of that far left and that far right side, and because neither of them can control it, it's allowing, it's always allowing the attacking team to have a pretty sizable foothold, and then they are able to just take control back from there. Whichever team is able to hold the far left and the far right, because on this trench line specifically, the middle part of the map's really not all that important. It's holding that far left and the far right, just because of how strong the crossfire is. We've seen it from Jackie, where you can just shoot down the whole trench if you're on one of the sides. That's kind of the big question right now, is who can control the far left and the far right at the same time and hold the trench as a result.
What I would really like to see is that the both squads, they tend to go to the both left and both right to keep that foothold going, but what I'd like to see is those squads actually splitting up in order to be able to have the left or right foothold and attack the other one as fast as they can. Because what's happening now for BUF is that everyone is in the same spot and they can just focus fire it. And it gets into this huge slaughterfest, not really gaining ground. Proper World War I style though, but it's funny to see that I think one team should actually advance for the far left or right going in. Do you guys agree?
I would just wait for the foothold time to come in and just have to wear the bombs and get it trench.
Oh, that's actually interesting.
I think right now, if you take this trench, you absolutely need to get a good spread on it. You need to be able to have people to support mid, support right, and just kind of keep the attackers pinned down. But until they can get control of both sides, that's just not going to happen, because they're going to be fighting the whole way to retake that given flank as they keep going back and forth. And I can say, having been a player on a map where you're dealing with that, it can be incredibly frustrating in the long run, where you feel like you put out a fire on the right and then all of a sudden you have to put another one out on the left.
It's actually interesting to see that it looks like that BUF is gaining control of the whole trench right now, and I think they put down both fires at the same time right now. If they can keep holding this for the next 3 minutes, this could be the turning point. They got the whole TV side out of this trench, which could
yeah, it's a good reset when you get the whole team wipe. The enemy players will look at the scoreboard, look at everybody's fucking dead.
But it's interesting to see that as we say, that the mid is actually not that important, and Jackie does get in through the mid, which is a ridiculous feat. Gets taken out in the end, but it was if he got a few more kills right there, he actually got his teammates in there from them.
I don't know if BUF is aware of the fact that they're in middle. It doesn't seem like they're aware of it now, but I don't think they were aware of it immediately.
Jackie walked in there without taking a shot, even though he had a few possible shots on the left side. But he didn't, and sneaked into the middle part right here, in this little part of the ditch Alaskan is in. And it's really interesting to see that they actually gained the right from this little move by Jackie. It's an incredible feat, what he did there. Sneaking up into the mid. Completely destroying actually the defense of BUF at this moment. Recapping the game again, I don't think I've ever seen a 5-4 score on AIM, or on this map.
This is a really good match, just dead even.
And do you guys think it's actually going to come down on who gains control? Is it actually a fight between a draw and a win?
It's gonna be interesting to see what BUF can do when they attack. Because if you think about it, they haven't had an opportunity to do anything other than basically defend this trench. You know, they're just retaking and then defending and then retaking and defending again, and so on and so forth. So, if it's gonna be interesting to see next half what BUF can do when they finally get an opportunity to attack, assuming they don't get one this half. But with 9 minutes left, and the way this match is going, it looks rather unlikely that BUF is going to be able to actually go on the offensive and make something happen.
Yeah, the Antalis side here is really spread around the trench right now, and it makes it extremely difficult when you don't have a foothold to recapture this trench again.
There's one BUF player pushing up into the far right redoubt. He's going to make contact with somebody.
We're following Nord, and he actually kills one.
But he's going to get pushed by like 4 players here. And they're all coming for him. They know he's alone, so they're just going to push him and wipe him, probably.
He gets one more. If he gets 2 more at least, he's going to
He's
may
getting
be
help
able
from
to
his
get.
teammates.
That is amazing. This is a really good.
Pro tactic then.
100%, and by this pro tactic they actually regained the trench. It's ridiculous how this is a very good grenaded attack.
I think what happened there was the TV players, they saw Nord was alone and they pushed him, but they kind of overextended themselves just focusing on Nord, and then the buff players were just able to push on the other side, and when all of their attention was directed to Nord, that crossfire just killed them, and that's why Nord didn't die.
They got destroyed from the middle. They got shot to the back end.
They got over fixated
Was
on
it,
one player.
I think it was. Was it Tom Grump who was in the right?
Yeah, Tom Grump and Manny just had that super strong crossfire there.
But
And
if the Germans can draw this map,
I
then they
think
can actually
if
go
you're
for the
buff,
next
you want to come
second.
away with this with a draw. That way you have the initiative in the second half with that starting attack and can hopefully just ride the momentum. And
Yeah, and usually if you can draw on this map as Germans, you will just 3-0 Antonsen.
that is one thing to
At least
note.
that's my experience.
Being able to attack first is a really strong aspect of playing on taunt in comp games because you're just able to take your momentum and kind of just carry it through the match.
Never forget twice the amount of bullets in your rifle.
And what we're seeing right now too is really what's happened this whole match. One side has the right flank, the other side has the left, and unless we can get a strong clear and a set defense really quickly, I think this is going to be a match that is played for draw or played for loss. I don't think we're going to get, as the time goes down, I don't think we're going to see much of an opportunity for either side to have an opportunity to attack.
And actually, Tom Grump gets a huge airplane bomb there, clearing out the whole right. Which
Yeah, but it's 1 minute and 30 seconds too early.
that is true. But let's see if they can hold. Ah, yeah, the Ontali are in mid again. But Tom Grump gets another one, actually with a very good long-range shot on Dick the Hand right there. And this makes it that.
That's a good bounty.
Let's see if they can capitalize on the last minute, actually recapturing this trench, which is a ridiculous feat anyway.
This is the longest defense phase we've seen so far, but they're close.
I think if they can hold them here, they might have the opportunity to get back on the attack.
This would be a really amazing, if they can hold this defense, that would give them a really amazing opportunity to push and take TV's trench. There's very little time left in the game, so if Buff can defend here and then attack TV's trench and take it, that's probably going to mean they're going to win this half.
And it looks like the Entente side is pretty bottled up on their right, so they're
Entente is
gonna have to
completely
fight for that foothold.
The Entente is really bottled up here, and it looks like with 10 seconds, they're not going to be able to get in. It's going to come down to last second push.
Well, the Entente is actually, they are spawning on a really bad position in a really tiny ditch on the right side and just outside of the trench, which makes it really helpful. They're just very close, but did they get pushed out? They did get pushed out,
No,
so now
No, they went for the push too late.
Yeah, they were literally a second away.
Oh,
But that position they were in there is absolutely terrible. It's just so exposed. The crossfire between the two sides is extremely strong. And now Buff is just laying on the hurt. And they're pushing hard.
Entadi needs to watch out that there's nobody on the right side of the Entadi, and the Germans can run in.
Buff is already in the trench. Spug, Nord, Tom, they've already taken a position, and Buff has a really strong crossfire on the other flank, and TV's just getting decimated right now.
Let's take a look from a bird's eye view where the Entadi side is. They are firmly in left though, but the same thing that in the other turns is happening in this side now as well. But I think this is extremely favored for the German side if they can keep the foothold here, right?
The
What do you guys think?
The problem for TV right now is they've already been isolated to this one part of the trench. They don't have any map control, and Buff is able to fire from those positions on the other side, and just they got them wedged in this position, and it's again they're just getting decimated here. It's Buff's playing really well now.
Let's take a look at Jackie if he can actually turn this part because the Germans are actually taking this trench, making them, putting them a point ahead for the first time in this whole match, which is ridiculous regarding how much defending they had to do in the last trench. But here they go, the Germans are ahead.
And they've now, and just like that, BUF all of a sudden has the lead. Incredible.
So what they're doing right now is actually fighting for a draw or a loss for the Antalya side. So this is really exciting stuff for TV right now.
If you're TV, you know you need this draw. You don't want to go into that second half down, especially after you looked like you had control of the match. They are pushing rather aggressively, and it looks like BUF's pretty much wiped.
Where did the majority of BUF spawn? Actually, they did spawn in the no man's land, but are there any people in?
Tom is in the trench doing what he can. He's got a teammate with him.
Let's follow Spook into... He's waltzing into the mid. Let's see if he can get some sneak kills right here. Do bear in mind he is in Finland, so he's...
BUF just narrowly blocked that cap. It was pretty much almost 100% for TV.
Yeah, and if the spectators the viewers are wondering why it's such a huge shift always in the attack and defense side. When you're attacking, I think you have 10 seconds longer, 10 seconds shorter spawning time. So it's about 15 seconds, and if you're a defender, it's about 25 seconds.
Oh, alright. And what we do see now is that the Antalya was actually able to defend the trench again, which makes it a draw. And they need to hold on for a minute and a half right now to make it a draw game. Do you guys think they can do it?
I think they're going to hold on. They've got a nice defense set up here. Part of what happened, and what allowed BUF to get that first cap on their trench was the defense phase failed, and TV got caught retreating or got caught out of position when their attack failed, and BUF was able to just aggressively push and quickly get in there. Now, whereas on the retake, TV's got, you know, a nice defensive line set up, so it's not going to be near as easy for BUF to get in. There's only a minute left. They're probably not going to have the time to make anything happen here.
Well, BUF does have one last push in them to make sure they get in, but they pretty much got slaughtered there, got all wiped. Looking grim for a actually victory for the Germans right here, but
I mean,
they might.
You know, it's not a victory, but it is. You know, it honestly is a victory for BUF here, because considering how they were desperately defending that line, and now they've been able to reverse that, I think they should be very happy with this tie in this half.
Absolutely, and for a team that's never really played together, that's got to be a confidence booster of being able to be scrappy and to stick in it and not give up.
And I think if you're TV, you might feel a bit demoralized because you went from, again, just attacking them, having all that momentum, to now you were having to fight to not lose.
To almost actually losing the game, exactly. Each and every... I am having the caster's curse right here. Each and every guy I'm trying to spectate here got instantly shot. But it's ending in a draw right here. I'm not able to...
Not done until it's done.
And here's the scoreboard. It's actually ridiculous to see how many kills Jackie and Nord got here. Both in the... Jackie actually having 74 kills. And Nord having 60 kills at the... which is ridiculous for me to see how many kills there were in this game. What do you guys think that TV needs to do differently to win this game? Well, they're defending... who is going to defend the first trench now?
Germans.
So TV will switch, and as you can see, the match isn't live, but yeah, Jackie had an excellent game, and then for BUF, it was really Nord and Tom, I think, who were coming out and playing super well. Tom started off a bit slow in that half, but he managed to bring it back a little bit.
Well, before this gets live, I'll say a quick thank you for having me. I'm going to bow out for this half. I need to prepare my team for our game.
All right. Thank you for helping us casting the first few minutes for the first half, and I wish you the best of luck with the games, of course.
Thank you so much. I'll try not to embarrass myself.
we are going to take a special look at you and to take you under the microscope to show us how it's done, man.
Don't do that.
Cheers.
Spectate roll trace in the warm-up.
Spectate roll in oh, he's right here. Apparently I can't spectate troll at the moment. I'm not sure why that is, but let's find him this way. There he is. Why is he using this gun?
Get moving, range run.
Is he going to Bino bash anyone? It looks like he is getting rather excited with the Bino bashing skills he's showing off.
Yes, it's the secret GKD tactic.
Alti, of course, rooting for his clanmate Trollerine here as he is demolishing this little pole.
It's the secret sort of outset.
A poor pole.
Well, he is from Finland, so he likes cutting wood, isn't it? That's how it works.
The lumberjack.
The lumberjack.
That's me.
So the Germans are going to defend the first round, right?
Yes. Anton always attacks first. So it will be TV on the defense.
Oh. Sorry. My spectator mode is a little bit clunky at the
Bit of
moment.
trash talk going on right now.
I'm not sure what's happening to my spectate mode, guys. God damn it. It looks like my spectate mode is very zoomed in right now, and I can't seem to switch to any other player. So,
You have been hacked, Trace.
let's actually switch to a talk screen right here, LT. Well, I'll fix this spectating thing by getting back into the game. Is that alright?
It's of course.
Alright.
So, how do you now feel, Trace? After the binocular?
I'm confused in how that works actually. Do you just scroll your mouse wheel when something happens, or and you keep down left mouse button? How does that work?
Oh, it's a secret.
It's a secret, all right.
Secret documents.
Troll has a mouse where you can free the scroll.
Oh yeah,
So
I have the
you
same
can-
thing. Like little mouse button, and then you can scroll without.
He's using that one, and then there's a little bit of magic also.
A little bit of magic as well.
It's magic.
Is it the GKD hacks right here?
No, it's the.
Get over here, dad!
Oh yes, of course, it's the Verdun hacks.eu, and it's the binocular bash hack.
Hey, what do you think that they should change in their approach? Can you elaborate a little bit on how you should retake? What your ideas about retaking a trench?
I mean, you're going to pretty much lose one of the sides in Eisen all the time. So I would just save the airplane bombs and pass them out when the time is over and you only have the foothold. And when you have the foothold, if there's nobody in after that one, you kill everybody inside the trench, you will instantly start your own attack phase after that. So I would just abuse that one.
Because it's strange to see for me that both teams are choosing a respawn thing rather than utilizing the artillery and things like that. Do you think it's more important to have respawnability on this map, or is it more important to have like the airplane bomb strategy, except with artillery?
It's too hard to try to keep yourself in if you don't have two recons. It just you will not be able to be in the trench long enough for that to be a factor anymore if you are playing an artist squad.
Yeah, I mean the reason why the competitive players and pretty much every competitive team, even in this game, people run the double recon, Elpenjägers and Highlanders, maybe sometimes Chasseurs is just because of the forward spawning. The ability to have anybody spawn on anybody is so powerful, and you know, even if everyone dies in the squad, even if it's only one guy left, it doesn't matter who it is, as long as you have one guy alive in your squad, all of those teammates can spawn back on him, which just allows, you know, your attacks to just keep on going when otherwise they wouldn't, because you would have no forward spawning, and then the last guy would just get isolated and die.
And the worst part is that you have to have the one guy who's the only guy who's able to spawn people in.
As we've
That
also
guy is not
seen,
going to play the game at all. He's just going to try to spawn you guys in, and he's not playing the game. It would be extremely fun.
I mean, and as we've even seen, you know, artillery is powerful for certain, but you know, even without it, you still have the airplane bomb, and it can still actually be pretty effective, as we noticed, that kind of precision strike that just kill a couple of guys. It just, you know, because even 2 free kills in an aviate is still, you know, a sizable amount. You know, it can be the difference between a foothold and, you know, not having a foothold. So it's actually quite important.
Shall we jump into the game? And I'm not sure when the game is going to restart and when it's going to go live.
I think they're going to restart their half in probably a couple minutes. I think they just are having. I think they're swapping some players out real quick.
All right. Well, maybe we can still go on.
I think they just have one more guy joining, and then they're about to go live.
Cool. Maybe we could talk about what the spots you guys think are very important to keep in this map.
Enemy incoming!
Do you think that's interesting
we
to
talked
do?
a lot about. See, we really only looked at the first line, but if we look at the other trench that we didn't see much of on the second game, you know, that the position on the far right, if you're looking at it from a German perspective, by the hay bale, is actually really powerful. It gives you really good vision to that line of trees, and also the tank on this line, which is on the far left, if you're looking at it from a German perspective, is another powerful position. Yeah, that hay bale was being viewed as quite strong, and the tank on the other side is because there's a really strong crossfire if you play at the tank, where you can look towards where the hay bale is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're now going live on restart, so we're gonna get back into things.
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah, I agree that the tank is very important. That's
Oh,
the
merci, man.
only place I play in this map. So it's a good.
It's the most overpowered position because it overlooks the whole mid, and it also
It overlooks all of mid, and you actually, when you play there, it's actually rather, it can be difficult to see people who play the tank, and it can also be it's difficult to hit people playing the tank because it is a headshot angle. You know, all you can see when a player peeks you from there is a head.
But what we see right now is that the Ontalians are advancing on the right side, actually running into a wall of Germans right here, and the first kind of wave is going to get, well, diffused by the Germans right now. What do you guys think?
Already what I'm seeing, or already what I don't like about the buff push is they're doing the same thing that TV kind of ended up happened to them, was they're stuck in this little defilade here, this kind of kill position where it's very easy for the TV players to look in and kill them. This is a very bad position. It's not a place you want to get stuck, and Buff immediately reacts to it by running out of it, but yeah, do not get stuck in that position.
That's a fun place to be.
Kind of is the reason why they lost they drawed the last match, because of that little. It gives you great respawnability, but really horrible entrance to the trench. So what we can see right now as well is that the Ontalians are going to the right of the Germans right now.
Tom was, I think, TV got focused on the defilade position, and it allowed Tom Grum to go on his own, and then all the buff players spawned back on the other side, and now they've got a nice foothold on this side of the trench.
And it's interesting to see that the same thing is happening as the last match. And Jackie is actually in a forward spawn right now, trying to get rid of everyone in the right from the Germans. But they're very heavily in right at the moment.
Yeah, there's like 6 people in.
So they're probably going to wait until they capture this trench, and then they're going to push out to clear the whole trench of the German threat right now. But the same thing as in the last match, in the last half. is portraying right now. Interesting to see. But they weren't able to take the trench, and they must watch out that they don't lose a whole squad right now in this right position. Luckily, Tom Grump was able to spawn everyone. Ulti?
Yes. I think that's that fine.
Position, lads.
Is everyone of the Ontali side now in their trench, or what's happening here? I can't.
There's a squad full now in there.
Buff has a foothold on one of the sides, but TV is pushing to try to deal with it, and Buff's kind of in a bad spot. They're pretty isolated right now, but I think they're going to be able to get more players in the middle.
It's interesting to see that Buff is actually splitting up more, because there's people in left for the Ontali, and now Tom Grump is actually advancing on the right side, but he gets killed by the crossfire from Jackie. It's a really, really important shot from Jackie here. Otherwise, he would have gotten a few more kills, because they didn't notice at all that Tom Grump was advancing on that right side.
Now Buff is actually starting to capture the trench again. Pretty nice shot there by Tom on Alaskan Bulrus all the way out there from the no man's land.
TV has to be very careful not to walk out of the trench here, because they have only a foothold with 2 people. And you can very easily die. Both here. Sorry. Let me zoom out. Where's that foothold they're having?
Buff has a foothold on their far right side.
Okay,
Ooh, that airplane bomb comes in from Dig the Head. Now Buff kind of down to 1-2 players in the trench, waiting for the spawns to come in, so they have a few more at least. But you can already actually see the difference. TV is holding this trench a lot longer than Buff did initially in the first game, so TV is responding a lot better to what Buff is doing. And unlike the first half, we're not seeing, we haven't actually seen a cap yet. We're 5 minutes into the match.
Yeah, Troll are pretty much destroying the Buff boys.
But however, they are not losing the foothold as well, and that is actually the most important bit. So they were able to spawn on each other, and now... Exactly. And I really enjoy seeing Spook in the most right position. Oh, but actually lagging out right there. He could have had that shot, but his ping was the issue right there. Funny to see. And Buff is actually defending this trench really well. They are killing 3 people of the Germans right now, holding this this right-hand side.
Pass from Troll, that's what I like to see. That's the secret GKD Vinobash. Showing its strength. Killing 2 people.
Troll actually getting 2 Bino Bashes? Did he get 2 Bino Bashes right there?
He did, he cleared the whole left side.
Oh, it's just such a shame. I didn't get that on the stream now. But anyway, they did firmly, by that action, they did firmly gain control of the left-hand side for the Germans. And let's see if they can recapture the right-hand side again. It looks like they are not actually going to retake this trench. If they can't kill enough of the Buff people now.
Oh, they have way more people. There we go.
Oh yeah, okay. So the same thing is portraying as in the last match. It is ridiculous to see, because normally you see that one team is really good with the Ontali and they end up losing heavily on the German side, but these teams are absolutely dead on, well, same skill level, I guess. And the same thing is portraying on the same on both sides.
Well, and I think what we're seeing right now really is, we're seeing TV has probably the better, they've got more of a top-heavy team. They've got Jackie, Trollmarine, those 2 have been doing excellent the entire match. But Buff is a little more even. They still have Tom and Nord, but Buff's just a little more even in the kills. So it's kind of the top fraggers from TV are coming out, keeping them in this game, and then Buff's kind of firing on all cylinders, but is just being countered by just the sheer willpower of Jackie and Troll to just get in there and kill them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous to see that Troll and Jackie both are 20 and 17-6, which is in a 8 versus 8. That is a ridiculous feat, I believe. But let's see if Troll can actually help recapture the right here. It looks like they are preparing to dash forward towards this right-hand side. And Troll taking the lead, and they need to kill a few guys here. I believe 1 or 2, in order to retake the trench. But they already did it. So this might mean they are actually going to retake this trench, isn't it?
Let's pry him out of there.
And this is where, you know, perhaps pressure might start to set in if you are playing on the TV roster. You know, this match isn't a final or anything. It doesn't mean too much, but still, if you are on TV, you know, those thoughts start to go through your head that now you're on the line. You know, you have to defend this or you lose the match. So the pressure is definitely on if you're on TV, because you don't have another half, and now you're on the defensive, fighting for your survival in this match, not lose it.
Yeah, they're doing really well.
We're not giving this up without a scrap.
It is so cool to... LT go.
Man, and he's gone.
So there's only in mid a few Antari guys still left for the for BUF, and that's actually getting really interesting to see if they can get them all out right now. They will recapture this trench, and there's still 2 minutes on this clock, so there's nothing going on. More and more. God damn it. Sorry.
Yes.
I was struggling with my spectating there. I'm sorry.
The Buff's got nice positions and a nice spread on the trench right now. I think somebody's pushing the far left side. Got taken down. Buff gets the cap back again, so another back and forth match. He just come down to against the last cap in this game at the rate it's going.
Hitler is on a great flank to the right side. Nobody has seen him yet. He might have a couple of kills here. He misses.
Oh no, there's actually an Antari guy on the far left right now, and if he does, if it,
Oh,
he
there's
killed
one
them
more
all.
player? Buff
Yeah,
gets,
he got him. That was
Irish
a great
gets the
flank.
4K, and that's a huge 4K.
That is absolutely huge. This could actually cost them the trench
but the
again.
German- He's in troubles now.
Irish is killing everybody right now. Still not
But-
taken down yet. Tom helping his teammate out there.
Can't see him. It is absolutely mayhem to see what these teams are doing. It's 3-3 already. The same score, I believe, at the same time in the last match. Just that equal, and I hope TV can actually start holding this trench and make sure they can attack their own for their own turn right now. Sorry.
Sadly, they weren't able to do much with the great flank from Irish. It
It was a really
looked
nice
good.
flank from Irish, but unfortunately Buff just couldn't capitalize off of it.
They had a good German sandwich. All of the Germans were in the middle and they had the both sides, but they just could not get the kills at that time.
Let's take a look at Dick the Hat, how he is approaching this one to, or rather Jackie, I guess. Okay.
Oh, that flank coming in to the right. Yeah, he got taken care of. It was Irish again.
But this time, Jackie actually gets him. He gets spotted, of course, by Iris this time, and that's why he gets killed by North from mid. It's an absolutely slugfest to see who is killing who, and it's hard to keep up, basically. So many kills are going down in this match, it's ridiculous to
Extremely
see.
fast-paced right now.
Let's take a bird's view to see how they are approaching this, because we can see that the Germans are actually having a nice spread out view, and the middle people are constantly running towards the place that it's, well, as you described it, having the fire. In this moment, the fire is on the right side, and you can see people actually instantly looking at the right from the middle. But this way, they are actually missing a big flank from the Antari. I believe it's Nord and Triggerman. In the position you don't want to end up in while advancing, but this could actually work out tremendously well for them, as
TV's
they...
not really aware of the fact that this is happening right now.
Exactly. Let's see if we can find anyone who can get in. Triggerman actually misses the shot. Okay, but he is in right now, and this would mean they can actually get their foothold on the right. And it's very important that they capture this trench in the next 40 seconds, or otherwise they're going to be well, on the hands of delivered towards the timer and the foothold they can keep or not. It's this is a very dangerous position if they can't capture it in the next 25 seconds. BUF is.
We've got a nice foothold on that far right side, but as we've seen, TV has played pretty well in dealing with that, so it's going to be interesting to see what they can do.
And BUF is actually, Tom Grump is now trying to get some long-range kills, but I think he needs to keep attacking, keep that foothold going, because if they lose this one, it's finally the Germans' turn to attack. And we all know this match, this trench of the Antari that they are attacking from right now is way harder to defend than the trench they are attacking right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep...
This is what BUF's been employing, where TV kind of just pushed a lot more aggressively. BUF has played a little more passively, try to utilize those, try to have some guys in the no man's land to get some picks and then push off the kills they get. And then once they get a bunch of kills just like that, they then make their move. They're a lot more selective in how they push. Whereas TV was just kind of always more aggressive and kind of that constant stream of guys coming at you.
I actually just noticed BUF are only 7 players.
Oh,
and there they gonna actually...
Yeah, the internet problem.
I like Spook.
Now,
Spook is...
if you're... Yeah, I think his Finnish internet is...
Yeah, he's laughing.
He's been banished.
We see that TV they weren't able to capture the trench in the 25 seconds they had left, and now I mean BUF, and now TV is allowed to attack the entire side of the trench, and it looks like they are actually overrunning it. A little bit of fatigue is probably happening in the TV side that are top players, and I think this is looking grim for TV side as they're defending right now.
I think for BUF, yeah, this is for BUF, it's kind of
you're
grim.
right.
BUF has failed their attack, and now they're on the defense. With 9 minutes left in the game, it's going to be difficult for them to hold and then attack again, get the cap and hold that.
Reloading. Watch my
A lot
back.
can happen in 9 minutes, as you've seen. Still anybody's game.
What do you guys think that will need to happen in order to... what will happen if they draw out? If they draw out this half as well?
For the purposes of the round robin, the match would just be considered a tie.
Right.
If we were in playoffs and this match was a playoff match, an elimination game, we would see which team had more kills to determine who wins. I think right now TV's capping the trench, and Troverin's actually playing the tank. He is taken down, but Troverin was just at the tank position I was talking about, which is quite powerful.
It looks like that BUF is actually able to defend the left side, left side really good, but the right hand side they keep losing. And the same thing is portraying as all in all the matches, which is really interesting to see that they have this left and right split constantly. But in this trench, they get the chance to actually keep firing from the right as well. So for the TV aspect, it's going to be harder to focus on both the sides and the no man's land. So I think BUF, if they can keep this on and keep attacking them from the right and left, they actually have a chance on recapping this trench in the next 30 seconds. But as I say that, they lose it, right?
Yeah, now if you're BUF, you know, the pressure's really on if you're BUF here. You've only got 7 minutes left in the game, you're down a trench. You know, this is kind of, you know, make or break for them right now on this attack. If it fails, they're just going to lose the game.
It's looking grim. The Germans have a really good spread.
TV's got a really nice spread right now, and they've got a really good defense set up here. And,
Dick the Head actually getting ridiculously aggressive, trying to get them out of this little hole, and he gets the kill on Spook right there. Absolutely slaughtered. He gets deserted because of that, of course, but it's nice to see that.
That's an intelligent play, though, to go out into that crater and make that kill, just because it denies the forward spawning and pushes them all the way back.
Exactly.
BUF is pushing this this position by the hay bale on the other side quite aggressively. Lots of players coming in now.
And I actually like the positioning of Tom Grump right here at the right hay bale near mid, because you can kind of cover the advance on the far left and shield everyone from the crossfire from mid. It's a smart play, and that's why they actually are able to get in right here.
Tom has kind of been playing this more pushed back, picking role. He's kind of playing, he's pivoting, he's looking at all the sides and helping his team advance. And BUF is able to retake the trench. So again, just dead heat right now. And Jack-U with a ridiculous number of kills, almost at 60 kills now. Nord. And Irish is having an excellent game, actually. He was, again, not really standout first half, but this half he's played much better. It's at 35, actually doing better than Nord. Spug is getting memed on by getting finished by his internet.
He also had to restart the game though and reconnect to the score, so that's why he has so little kills right here.
But
the
we will only remember the end score.
It's cool to see. How are the Germans approaching this trench right now? Are they trying to keep it on?
There's one squad in the right, and the both squads are going for the right side. They're not even going for the left at all.
So let's keep it at the perspective of the Germans right now. Dick the Hand actually trying to rain fire on them from distance, getting a few kills. And then transitioning to the left. I really like that play to make sure that they advance at the whole trench. Oh, they are actually already in. So this might actually keep going.
The big risk here for BUF is that, you know, you lose the trench with like a minute left in the game, and then you just don't have enough time to recap. So this is, you know, we're in this kind of almost like an overtime situation where if someone can get a cap here in the next couple minutes, they'll probably just win. Because there's just so little time on that clock. It'll be extremely difficult to retake for either side if a cap comes in.
So the objective for BUF here is just to hold their strengths for the next minute and a half and make sure they kill everyone that holds the foothold. And then they are probably safe for the draw, and they have a final 3 minutes attack left for to win the game.
There's a big risk here if you're TV that you fail. If you're TV, you might want to be careful of how aggressively you play, especially if it looks like they're not going to cap the trench. Because if you get caught out of position and the attack switches, you know, BUF could get a cap rather quickly, and then all of a sudden you're in a position as TV where you've got 2 minutes on the clock and you're down a trench. So it's, or perhaps even less. So yeah, both teams have to be very smart with their decisions right now, and BUF has an excellent defense right now. TV not really kind of gaining any traction on the attack at all.
Yeah, it feels like they have one more one more chance to actually attack this trench, gain a foothold, and via that foothold gain control of this trench. But it's going to get hard to get in.
They have to make the plays right now, or
this is it for TV.
The BUF boys can just run out of the trench and be inside when the Germans spawn again.
And honestly, TV has to be really careful because one of their flanks is completely exposed, and they're pre-running. BUF is going as quick as they can, taking advantage of the fact that there's nobody from TV, or only one guy now on this side, Troverine, who's alone, doesn't have anybody with him.
There is somebody on the... Okay, but the pre-run did actually get demolished by the guy on the left, by Jackie and a teammate of Jackie. So now the pressure definitely is on TV, right, to make sure they don't lose this trench, and if they do, it's going to be extremely hard to recapture, since since BUF have like 2.5 minutes to attack this trench, and the whole game is going to take 2.5 minutes, so they have all the time in the world to try and capture this map.
Yeah, if BUF can get the cap here, they will most definitely probably win the match. So the pressure now has shifted back to TV in that do or die scenario.
And BUF is actually trying and gain traction to the left side hand, but they got spotted. And it's going to be interesting to see if they are able to get into the left hand side.
It seems really hard right now. The TV has a really good cover.
Irish is able to get in, and Irish has had a lot of success over here, so if he can make some play...
Irish again with that huge flank, right?
Taking down Jackie, that's a huge kill. Obviously, Jackie's been kind of the quintessential member behind TV's kind of run here.
Now, TV is lucky that they spawn on the left right here, and they might actually be able to defuse this left hand side.
Now the coming in for BUF.
Oof, but the left gets killed, and again, if they lose this trench, I think it's over for TV, isn't it?
Yeah, it's slowly capping now. It's 25% ready.
But they get the foothold, and they got enough people in there, but BUF is just killing too many TV guys, and that's why the red circle is...
Now they have 18.
Yeah, and if you're TV, you're just screaming just to stay down, just to basically just hide. I don't know if they're going to be able to. I don't think they will.
You get extremely scared.
It's only 50 seconds, so now BUF with the lead, 50 seconds on the clock.
So the pressure is really on TV right now to get all the people in the trench. And
Flank.
He's missing some shots.
Oh.
Oh, nobody get killed the moment we get to look at him.
Ah, it's the burger Verina again.
Okay, so the only thing BUF has to do is not lose the 7 people in their trench and make sure every second here counts. TV needs to get all their people in like 5 seconds, then kill everyone of the BUF side. So I think this is actually over for TV.
This has been an incredible match. TV BUF the last second cap, and TV's just not going to have enough time. All BUF needs to do is just stay down and just wait. And that is what's going to happen.
If they can kill 3 or 4 people, but it looked like it wasn't going to be a recap for a really small second, but in the last ditch effort, they lost the trends and exactly what we...
That was an incredible game.
Absolutely.
Absolutely fantastic.
It was mainly because of those attacks by Irish Butler on the left-hand side.
Irish had some that flank by Irish there. In particular, when he got in there and killed Jackie, he kills, the top fragger for TV. He's able to take down somebody super dangerous, which just opens up so much room for his team. And that flank that's the game-winning flank right there.
Yeah, that last flank was great. It was looking very, very good for TV, and then Irish just suddenly gets a double kill and goes inside, kills another guy. That was a great flank.
An absolutely great game, and I'm happy to see that we are actually switching to the wall right now. I'm happy to see that these matches were so close, and that by some ridiculous individual plays, they were able to push through the defenses and actually gain the point they needed, the last trench capture, in order to win this whole map.